This is another thing I'm proud of. When I was at Fender, I researched magnets a lot. And the company I talked to is the same company that made the original pickup, made the original magnets for Fender in the 60s, 50s and 60s. The magnet, the Alnico 5 that we use is not the same Alnico 5 as what everybody else uses. We call this Alnico 5 Special. It has different properties because the way the magnet is made is different than what you can buy today. These tend to have little chips on them, sometimes on the edges, which you find on the old Fenders, and that's the reason they would go put a little bevel on the magnet, because they were trying to knock those chips off. When they changed the process in Fender, they stopped putting that bevel on because they cut the magnet more clean with a different magnet that didn't chip. The thing they didn't realize though is that magnet sounded different. So the magnets we use are identical to what Fender used in the early 60s.
So again, in order for them to minimize the cost, there was a process of getting rid of the chip. They changed the material.
They changed the way they cooled the magnet, which made it less brittle. So then it didn't chip as bad. So then they didn't have to grind the edges, because grinding the edge is a lot of work. We have to have one guy sitting there grinding the edge by hand. These magnets cost me 2 times, maybe 3 times as much as any American magnet manufacturer. A lot of people will use Chinese magnets. All of our American magnets are made in the United States. Old-fashioned. Old-fashioned. So there's my 3 pickup winders. We cut all the parts for the pickups on the laser, and then we load the bobbins here for the single coils. Do all the winding over here.
Nice machines.
We have amplifiers over here. Again, we build all this. A lot of amplifier companies use another company to build their amplifier, and they just get it back and they test it. We build everything here. So we get the chassis, even all the panels from the amps, we laser this. So this is not silkscreen. This cannot scratch off. This is actually anodized aluminum that we laser etch, so it's permanent. This is the Badger amp.
Very good on the circuit.
Yeah, double-sided 2-ounce copper PC board. I do all the design on this. And the nice thing about the Badger amps is that actually a lot of the amps, none of these pots are connected to the PC board. You can see that even the input jack, all the pots, any switches, any jacks, everything is hand wired. So this, I call this a kind of a hybrid. When people talk about hand wired amps, this is a hybrid because it's all the important parts are on the PC board. That way I can control any sort of traces and any capacitance on the board. I can control the way they interact with each other where it's really important. And then on this one we fly the wires here, so even if you're in Italy or Germany, it doesn't matter. If you have a bad PC socket, if you have a bad socket, you can go to any manufacturer and get a socket that fits and wire it in yourself. You don't have to use a PC board. So like, you know, all the switches and all this is all totally old-fashioned.
You call it PC board, but it really looks like a neater version of the what it's called
tag. Well, you know,
tag.
Yeah, point to point is something that most people don't do, and it's actually a mess. But what we do is we do it through a hand wired eyelet board. So these are custom amps where the customer basically tells me exactly what he wants, and I build it just for him. So the nice thing about this is that you know, if we stuff these boards and do everything here, and it's
nice. Love those. Expensive.
He's got one over there that's finished if we want to see it.
Sure. Those are just custom amps. I haven't seen this on the catalog.
These are kind of custom too. These the OD100s. We have so many different versions of it, and it's built like a tank. And as you can see, I use the same philosophy. The potentiometers are not mounted to the PC
board. Yeah.
So if you wanted to change this with a different style or because you had a problem, it's no problem. So everything's hand wired here. All the power tube section is all hand wired, like an old amp. These jacks are on here because they don't get any stress, and this is a very heavy board. You can tell it's very solid.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, we have a lot of support for every socket here. So you can see all the screws in here that are holding it to the side.
Yeah, I remember this
It's
guy.
not going anywhere.
And this is
This is a fully hand wired amp.
the plexus style.
Yeah, on this one we're using military grade pots.
See the difference? Twice as big.
Yeah.
The switches,
actually work
wow.
great. There's nothing wrong with these pots, but you know, a lot of this is I do it this way just because it's what people want to see.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about this with a friend of mine that builds amplifier in Italy. His name is Brunetti, and he got the same
Yeah,
feeling
Brunetti,
as
Dave Kilminster has the Brunetti.
yeah,
He uses our Riot pedal too.
yeah. And he told me that those stuff, it's just the sides, but they're the way they move,
Yeah.
the way they it's fine.
These pots, even though they're cheaper, actually feel better than these pots. But these pots are military, so this pot can handle much more wattage, and it's much heavier
yeah.
duty, and you're not going to break it too easy.
Let's look.
Probably stay further away from these. I don't want everybody copying my circuit just with the video.
All right, we cut that part.
Well, just you can take a shot, but not too much detail.
Okay.
He runs everything through our audio precision test station. That machine is probably about $15,000 that he's running it through just to make sure everything follows the sweeps. So it runs through full sweeps of all the audio.
You designed all of this.
Yes, I designed all the amplifiers. I didn't design the audio precision test station.
No, yeah.
Actually, this is one of my old preamps. 3 Plus preamp. That's what brought me out to California to work with Bob Bradshaw. This one actually belongs to Peter Frampton.
I remember this guy,
Yeah.
this preamp, and I've seen it in pictures and racks on professional
Steve Lukather still using it. That's still his only.
with his 3 speaker system.
Yeah. Wet, dry, wet. So here's one of the panels from the amp. We also cut all this on the laser. This is plexiglass, which is old style. So we cut all that on the laser. Over here they're doing more of the surface mount stuff, the pedals. The pedals we make, this is one block of aluminum. This was one solid piece of aluminum that we machined.
That you can comfortably step on.
Yeah, that way we can have a battery compartment and we can do anything we want. We can make any change we want. And we also laser etch the back panels with a little instruction and serial
This is
numbers.
your little covering the circuit.
That's the secret part.
Yeah, I imagine that. Cool.
And that's about it. We go back to my office. Will you see my office?
Your office? Yes, I think You did the cases too?
Now, these cases are what we call transport cases. When the guitar is finished, it's finished on the other side, it's cleaned up, and everything is inspected and it's good. We don't want the customer's case to be sitting in all the sawdust or to get moved around. So we transport the guitars back and forth in a case, and after they take a picture of it, then we put it in a nice new brand new case. So it's nice and clean and dust free.
This is a photo booth
That's the photo booth.
for the baby before she leaves home.
This is my crazy bench. There's all my internet stuff is over there. This is one of the Jim Kelly amps that we're looking at an old one. We're looking at an old one as a guide. This is a digitizer. This thing is accurate within a 0.5 of an inch. It's a $30,000 machine. So with this I can digitize neck shapes, I can digitize bodies, anything in 3D space.
I'll show you.
Well, anything in 3D space, if I click the button, it'll grab it.
There's everybody else. Everyone's working, I swear.
Is your Plexi 100?
No, this is actually a modification.
What is it?
Well, somebody else had modified the amp. Another actually famous amp builder had modified this guy's amp, and he didn't like it, and he sent it to me from Europe. So he asked me what I could do. Well, I just took everything out. So he's got a new Plexi panel, and all the circuitry you see in here I custom made on this machine right here. That's his old
Is
panel.
it coming off of that?
Yes, this is his old panel. That's what the amp was. He didn't care for this one, which somebody else did. So he's going to have 2 channels, 2 levels. He's got boost in it. I even replaced the power transformer. So
Let's see that. Which power transformers you use?
well, this is a custom-made one for me because it has all the right voltages. But I use Habor.
Havor? You don't use Mercury?
Mercury makes a good transformer, but I like Habor better, personally. You know, they all seem to have their own sound. The difference with Habor is they use the original paper bobbins. Mercury, I believe, uses plastic bobbins, but I've tried Mercury, and I think that their product is great for certain amps, but for my money, I like Habor. I have a good relationship with him, and he can reverse engineer any old Plexi or anything I want.
Wow.
So actually, you know, I just built Peter Thorne an amp that Habor made me a custom output transformer that is an exact 67 reissue, and it's just a beautiful sounding transformer. But this board here, I did all this on this machine.
The new board?
Yeah. So I drew everything out and cut it on my own machine. That way I don't have to deal with anybody else on that. I only do that for prototypes. Every place their wire gets connected, there's an eyelet. So I press in an eyelet.
Wow.
And because I use my digitizer to digitize all the locations, drops right in. So he had a bunch of holes in here before. So I plugged all them out. Now he's only got one. He's waiting very patiently. Even the hand-wired circuitry I do on that machine. You know, for a hand-wired board, all these turrets and all the eyelets, I can cut that all on that.
Alrighty.
That's about it.